Today, we'll be talking about the long-awaited stellar story writer, Selena... not again.
Capriccio.
Debuting in the upcoming
Recitativo di fantasia.
update. And if you don't want to miss future guides and videos, don't forget to subscribe, and I also stream on my Twitch at twitch.tv/spider2b, and if I make any corrections or forget to mention something, it'll be in the pinned comment down below. Alright, let's get into it.
こちら 2B 問題ない
Selena
Capriccio.
is a base S-rank amplifier construct that deals dark damage and features healing, attack buffs, and abilities that are more sound than my sleep schedule. And in this video, I'll cover her skills, passives, ascensions, playstyle, weapons, builds, team setup, and my pull and build recommendations. And as usual, I'll leave timestamps if you want to jump to a specific topic. And I'm just going to call her Selena Amp for the rest of the video because, yeah, no. And going through her kit, like Live Imperia, Selena's Amplifier class skill grants characters that swap in 10% attack and 10% elemental damage for about 10 seconds, and in Selena Amp's case, it's dark damage. For her basic attack, Selena plays her flute, dealing physical damage and melee range, and she can knock up light enemies using her third attack, but her final fifth attack will often launch enemies pretty far away. And you mainly never want a basic attack on her other than to get some orbs. And as for her QTE, she plays her flute, dealing AoE dark damage and healing allies based on her attack. As for her orb abilities, Selena's red orb does a flurry of attacks in front of her, followed by a piercing attack, dealing physical damage. And if it's a 3 orb or matrix ping, Selena gets an initial dash which can be controlled in the direction of the joystick, and the orb will deal dark damage instead. And this is also her swap in attack. Her yellow orb launches a ranged vertical wave that travels indefinitely, dealing physical damage. And if it's a 3 orb or matrix ping, Selena will dash, do a horizontal cleave, and then launch the wave, dealing dark damage instead. And the joystick will allow you to aim this wave in the direction that you point. I also want to quickly note that her yellow and red orbs have long ability durations, lack of interrupt resistance, and all of her orbs basically don't have dash cancels, which means that Selena is pretty prone to being interrupted during her abilities, so be aware of your surroundings before casting the red and yellow orbs. As for her blue orb, Selena breaks out of any crowd control and jumps back, playing her flute that pulls in enemies and does physical damage. And 3 orb and matrix pings will convert this damage into dark damage, and the skill has unlimited range as long as the enemy is locked on. And for once, we actually have a fairly simple core passive. After any 3 orb or matrix ping, move your joystick to drop a phantom that copies your skill, dealing extra damage. Just don't do this too early for the 3 orb yellow ping, otherwise you'll cancel the ability completely. This phantom passive also applies to her ultimate. Moving the joystick while casting her ult orbs will also drop a phantom, dealing dark damage. Her ultimate opens yet another domain expansion, putting enemies in a matrix-like state. In her domain, Selena gets 50% damage reduction and gets 5 free star orbs, and expending each star orb will dash into an enemy, dealing dark damage. And after using all the orbs, Selena will play her flute, and all of her clones will attack the enemies, dealing AoE dark damage. And finally, the ult will heal allies based on Selena's attack over a brief period, and remember to move the joystick during the ult to control the direction of each orb and create the clones. So TLDR, spam the orbs while moving. Just try not to spam too many ults in quick succession, if you value your ears. And as for her leader passive, the team gets 10% attack and 5% HP. And as for Ascensions, at SS, when Selena enters the field, even on QTE, she self-heals 30% of her attack, and when Selena heals her allies after her ult, Access Healing generates a brief shield. She also gets a 10% dark damage boost in her ultimate. At SS, like Live Amp, Selena's SS doubles her amplifier skill buffs, her dark damage boost for her signature set, and it increases her healing duration after ulting. And finally, at SS+, using 3 orb pings on other characters will give Selena extra ultimate energy, and her ultimate does 50% more damage. And as for my rank recommendations, at SS is when Selena truly starts to outperform a SS Vera Rosen in terms of team buffs and debuffs, so before SS, it's even hard to justify using Selena over an invested Vera Rosen. That being said, SS Selena Amp is usable in some situations where you value team damage rather than buffing one unit like Luna in places like Babel or Stronghold, but I'll cover this more in depth in the recommendations section of the video, but she's unfortunately a SS or bust unit. And going through her weapons, it may just seem like she's playing the flute, but there's a blade in there. On a serious note, for her 4-star weapon, just don't do it. For her 5-star weapon, it's her bare minimum requirement since her healing skills have attack, and actually it's not that much of a downgrade compared to her signature weapon, so for many this will be enough. Her 6-star or signature weapon only buffs her on-field presence by essentially giving her more damage and ultimate charge to smooth out her rotations, and it's strong but not as needed as other S-rank signature weapons, so it comes down to how much spare black hearts you have. And the weapon's only real supporting ability comes if you decide to resonate it, like with Glorious Spear and Superconducting Axial Array, which are the main 6-star resonances. Deadline Timing would be the 3rd resonance, but it's not as needed with Caudy. And as for her builds, for 5-star memories you could run 4-piece Ike with 2-piece Gloria, or 2-piece Samantha for damage, or 4-piece Samantha and 2-piece Gloria for a pure support build. For 6-star memory builds, Selena has many choices. For the next couple months before the time stop buff, Selena will mainly be the Da Vinci holder with 4-piece Da Vinci and 2-piece Guinevere, basically replacing Vera Rosen if Selena is triple S, and there's no real need to resonate or hypertune here since she's not the damage dealer. After the time stop buff is implemented in a couple months, 4-piece Seraphine and 2-piece Caudy bottom row, so slots 4, 5, and 6, will be her main set. Caudy enables Selena to ult as much as possible to abuse the time stop mechanic, but more importantly, ult as soon as possible since the amplifier passive is a mere 10 seconds and ult itself takes a while to cast. And here, you'll want to resonate plus 15 attack on the top row and amplifier class skill on the bottom row for more buffs. Signature and core passive is not bad for more damage though. And finally, 4-piece Seraphine and 2-piece Guinevere is a set that I sometimes use when Luna is the on-field main damage dealer and another tank is holding 4-piece Da Vinci and 2-piece Einstein. And again, resonate plus 15 attack on the top row and amplifier class skill on the bottom row. And also note that there should be a memory rescue stage that has some free Seraphine memories as a reward, so keep that in mind. And as for the team setup, the Dark team will now consist of Luna holding her signature 4-piece Flamel and 2-piece Darwin, Selena with her Seraphine set or Da Vinci set, and the Dark tank like Tenebron or 21 holding 4-piece Da Vinci and 2-piece Einstein or 4-piece Bathlon and 2-piece Einstein. But the slot order doesn't really matter too much, although it's preferable to not have Selena on the blue slot. And you'll want Luna as the leader since she'll be doing the majority of the damage, and the Da Vinci holder as the starter. Astra will be on the red slot if you don't have Luna, and depending on your investment after the time stop buff, you could argue to not run Da Vinci and have the tank hold 4-piece Bathlon and 2-piece Einstein instead, since Luna already triggers both QTEs. And as for playstyle rotation, since Selena's damage is not super noteworthy right now before the time stop buff in triple S, if you're using her as a Da Vinci bot, she's not really going to have that much field time as Luna will still be the premier Dark DPS. With Da Vinci, Selena at most will just quickly swap in to do a 3-orb ping, dash for her core passive, and then swap out. If you do run her with 4-piece Seraphine, you'll start with a Da Vinci holder Dark tank, either 21 or Tenebron, and swap an attack into Luna, use her core passive to build her ultimate a bit, then quickly build and use her core passive and proc the QTEs and ultimate. It's pretty much the same rotation as mentioned in my previous Luna guide. If Luna runs out of orbs, then you swap into Selena, burning through as many 3-orb matrix pings as quickly as possible to get to her ultimate before her amplifier passive runs out, before swapping back to the tank to ping some orbs and then repeating the rotation again. And there's some variants to this rotation, like for example if your Tenebron is double S, then you start with Selena first, swap an attack into Tenebron, proc his 3-orb pings and ultimate for his double S passive, before swapping into Luna to continue the previously mentioned rotation. Note that this is just one of many rotations and it may vary depending on the content that you're facing. The more invested your Selena is, especially in terms of weapon resonance, the more flexible your rotation can be since she can start dealing a lot more damage. At the end of the day, Luna will still likely be taking most of the field time, but now she has a bit more breathing room with the introduction of triple S Selena. After time stop, swapping in Selena to ultimate will stop the timer at the end of the ult animation. And some other things to note in terms of playstyle, Selena has a lot of movement abilities which tends to displace her a lot. Sometimes she goes to Africa and back with the amount of movement she does, so be mindful in directing her damage and targeting. Her blue orb is by far her best orb since it's the easiest to proc her core passive since you can do it earlier than other orbs, as well as being the most useful in terms of grouping, and is the safest to cast compared to other orbs. So prioritize the blue orbs over red, then yellow orbs. Also try to point the joystick back after 3-orb or matrix pings, it can help with landing her core passive attacks a little bit easier. And finally, like Live Amp, ideally you want to proc Da Vinci during the end of Selena's ult, but I'm gonna be real, since the star orbs in her ult don't proc QTEs and it takes a while to cast all 5, you may need to cast Da Vinci early before it runs out, or just hold it out for later. As for pull and build recommendations, this is gonna be a long part. Since a non-triple S Selena is mainly a downgrade in terms of buffs and debuffs compared to a triple S Vera Rosen, if Selena is under triple S, she'll mainly be a bench warmer and you'll continue to use Vera Rosen in the meantime. Since Selena's a quote-unquote farmable character, unfortunately she's just not as strong at S or double S like other S-rank constructs. If you're truly intent on using Selena Amp over Vera Rosen, here's the steps to get her to triple S as a non-whale. First, I highly recommend to pull a copy instead of unlocking Selena using shards from the event. I know that this can be unreasonable since a lot of people don't have black cards after Live Imperia to pull 60 times for another S-rank, but missing this 100% rate up banner means you would either need to luck sack her from the standard banner or risk 70% rate up banner later on, since she does not get another 100% rate up banner for a long while. So this can be the one time where maybe pulling even though you can't pay to her can be considered. But remember, it's never worth to spend out of your own means, and it's just that pulling her first will save you many shards that you'll need later. You can unlock her with shards instead, but just know that it'll take a lot longer to get Selena to triple S, so you have been warned. And after getting a copy, you can double S her using the event shards and or the pancake shards, and after that, you need to slowly unlock her shards from the battle pass to get her to triple S. But this can range from a couple to many months depending on which tier battle pass you have, and if you spend the BP currency only on Selena shards. If you don't want to bother with the steps that I've talked about, then you probably should skip her entirely and just use Vera Rosen. But having triple S Selena, especially with weapon resonances, is nice since a triple S amplifier can be slotted into any team to apply damage buffs. It's just a lot more accessible to get to triple S with Selena amp than it is to get with Liv amp, who needs more pulls to obtain triple S. Also, I want to quickly mention that Selena's shard event is permanent, so there's no real reason to rush it before the update ends. Also, did I mention that Selena's mad cute? Cause she mad. And if there's any updates or corrections, I'll leave a pinned comment down below. If you have any questions, drop in the comments or ask our community Discord at discord.io/automata, and I'll try to respond if I'm not busy. Subscribe so you know my future guides and videos, and if you find this video informative, drop a like. A dislike if you didn't. I stream sometimes on my Twitch at twitch.tv/spider2b, so drop a follow if you want to know when I go live, and yeah, I hope this video wasn't too confusing and answered some questions about our favorite flute player, since God knows how many times I get asked about her. The amplifiers are truly one of the most constructs of all time, and a lot of time it comes down to "it depends," which triggered multiple headaches when writing this guide, as well as making this video quite complex unfortunately. I wonder how many people actually make it to the end of long videos like this, so comment Iris Best Flower if you watched till now, I'm curious. Anyways, if you're pulling for her, good luck, and thanks for watching all the way till the end, and peace late.